optimistic, though cautiously optimistic, about our prospects for growth in 2009. We are heartened by the fact that we are still, so far, a growth story in the midst of this global challenge. We certainly don't take this for granted. We will remain vigilant. We will continue to take whatever action is required to preserve our hard-earned economic progress. The Philippines has resisted the worst effects of the global downturn so far because we resisted the temptation. We broke the temptation to continue on our nation's previous path of debt, deficit, and slow growth. That cycle was broken a few years ago when we pushed through fundamental reforms that changed the way we do business. Today, the Philippines is one of the best investment choices in Asia. With our strong workforce, our world-class information and communications technology infrastructure, and our renewed commitment to economic reform, fiscal responsibility, and global engagement. Since 2004, Philippine national government debt has improved from more than 78% of GDP to about 56% at the end of 2008. Our ability to reduce debt has been due in large part to our success in raising revenue. This can be attributed in turn, in large part, to the increase of our value-added tax in 2006. Tax reforms, including tax administration, as well as an aggressive privatization program, have provided the much-needed space for fiscal expansion during the current economic downturn. The Philippines is finally unlocking its full potential and value for the benefit of its people, but also for the benefit of its strategic partners. And no partner is more crucial to our success than Japan. I would love nothing more than for our two nations to accelerate our economic relations and build on the Japan-Philippines Economic Partnership Agreement, or JPEPA, that was ratified recently by the Senate, by our Philippine Senate. We are proud that our Philippine Senate, represented here in the hall by Senator Angara, and in our trip by Senator Miriam Santiago as well, who chaired the Committee on International Relations that took care of the ratification. We are proud that our Senate, very independent by tradition, joined hands with our administration and forged ahead with a new strategic economic relationship with Japan that will help define the contours of our economic relations for generations. And that is the reason why we are here again here in Japan for the 7th time in my administration, including a state visit in 2002, because this time our focus is on making sure that we have a smooth implementation of the Japan-Philippines EPA. Last May, Filipino nurses and caregivers who came to Japan under the new Japan-Philippines EPA framework started language training in Tokyo, Osaka, Nagoya, and Hiroshima. This, I hope, is the beginning of a mutually beneficial cooperation between our two countries in the important healthcare sector. I am confident that this, our first batch of Filipino nurses and caregivers, and other Filipino healthcare workers who are very much in demand in the whole world, will help satisfy the fast-growing manpower requirements of Japan's aging population. Our countries are also cooperating closely in the maritime sector. The Philippines accounts for approximately 70%, or 30,000 seafarers of the sailors manning Japanese vessels. It is no wonder that whenever I have a meeting with the Philippine community here in Japan, we always hold it in the headquarters of the Japan Seamen's Union because they are such a dominant presence in that union. Japan ship owners have established schools and training facilities in the Philippines. This is an important and creative approach to economic cooperation. It could be applied in other sectors of Japanese industry, in particular the health sector, now that the Japan-Philippines EPA has opened the doors for health workers to come to Japan. As a major supplier of the world's seafarers, we greatly appreciate Japan's decision to send vessels from the Maritime Self-Defense Force to the Indian Ocean to protect Japanese ships and foreign ships from the scourge of piracy. Piracy is an international crime that requires close cooperation if it is ever to be stopped. The active participation of Japan in combating piracy in the Indian Ocean is an example of the many roles that Japan has assumed internationally. This action and other actions clearly demonstrate that Japan should be a permanent member of the UN Security Council. And as Asia's largest economy and largest source of official development assistance, Japan is also in a position to work towards or to lead the work towards an economic community of Asia, to include South Asia, Southeast Asia, East Asia, the Middle East, Central Asia, Russia, and Oceania, to maximize growth, trade, investment, and financial stability in the Asian region. Because if we look at the world around us, Asia is the best situated to weather the global crisis and come out the strongest compared with other regions. Japan is in a position to convene the regional groups such as the East Asian Summit, the South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation or SARC, the Gulf Cooperation Council, Russia and the Commonwealth of Independent States, and the Southwest Pacific Dialogue to discuss an economic community of Asia as a bulwark against economic crisis. Ladies and gentlemen, FEC members, members of the diplomatic community, members of the Philippine delegation, we have all learned from the Japanese experience. We would do well to remember that in good times and bad, Japan has been there for all of us these last 50 years. In every endeavor, Japan has helped move mountains, be it in areas of regional peace and security, global economic stability, or environmental stewardship. On the part of the Philippines, we will remain on our path of reform and renewal, of fiscal prudence, targeted investments, and the fight against poverty. We want to succeed someday as Japan has succeeded. We need the continued investment, development assistance, and political leadership of Japan now more than ever. With deep appreciation for all that Japan has done and is doing for our people and the world, I express our heartfelt thanks from a grateful nation for the historic support from the people of Japan. We may all be challenged by the current state of the global economy, but I dare say our best days are ahead of us, maybe because precisely of the lessons we have learned from this global crisis. Asia, the best placed to survive the crisis,